Grace, you just said I look pretty.
Eric, you're awesome and you're pretty.
Oh, so are you. How was your weekend?
My weekend was fabulous. I went to go see the Barbie movie with my friend Lacey.
Is it actually good? Wait,
Yes.
let's intro this, and that's going to be our first subject because I'm totally at a loss here. I don't understand what the hoopla is, and I need to know.
Barbie.
So, without any further ado, Grace, episode number 21, and we are still going strong. Doing it with a beautiful human like yourself, I knew I couldn't go wrong.
Ah, man, all the love today. I love it.
I'm Eric, Idiot Runner Kosek.
And I'm Grace, Hot Pants Langheim. Eric is all business in the front of the pack, and I am all about the party in the back.
That's right, business up front and party in the back. Together, we are the Running Mullet.
And we are going to talk about every aspect of running, the podium to the DNF and everything in between.
If you are a runner, this show is for you. Now sit back, get out your foam roller, and enjoy the party.
All right, so this Barbie. Hi, Grace. Enough of that. This Barbie movie, like, man, like, what is it? Because it's such a big part of like our childhood, people our age, that like it's so huge, or is it because like that good-looking dude with Ryan Gosling? Is it Ryan Gosling? Is he in it?
Yeah, I think it's Ryan Gosling. I personally, Ryan Gosling is a fine actor. He's not my type, but I'm sure he's a very nice man.
Is the storyline? I mean, let's hear your review of this then, since you went and saw it. And I know it's like huge. It set records. It's the biggest movie of the year. I saw a preview for it, and it's like weird, I thought. But what do I know? I'm not a Barbie fan. Maybe I could be, but let's hear your review.
My review of the Barbie movie, it was super fun, had lots of fun people in it, lots of jokes. I think it definitely tries to be a bit of a heartwarming story, and it accomplishes that, but it doesn't get deep for very long. There's jokes throughout the whole movie. Super fun, and I loved it. It was good. Like Ken is one of the characters, right? So that's Ryan Gosling, and Ken's job is beach. That's what he does for a living. He does beach.
He does beach.
Yeah, he's not a lifeguard because he doesn't have that skill set. He just does beach.
He just does beach.
Yeah, it's super
interesting. Wow.
Yeah, and the actors are amazing, and there were some people in there. Issa Rae, I'm a big fan of hers, and she played the president. So there were some other fun surprises. Music by Lizzo, it was good.
I mean, it's always good to see like a happy-go-lucky type of movie with no anything, just fun. And I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, there were definitely some. I don't think it was just happy-go-lucky. Oh. I think there's definitely some
drama.
Not drama, just like boost up empowerment for women, but also let's not bash men in the meantime. So that was good. I liked it. I thought they did a good job of it.
Huh. Well, good. Do you want to keep doing movie reviews for this episode?
Not at all. Talk about trails.
Okay.
You're leaving. When are you leaving?
I'm leaving on a jet plane, Grace. Wednesday morning, Becky and I head out from Philly to Montana.
To Montana. And that's one of our topics of today. I have never traveled by plane for a race. I've traveled by car. And you've done this before. So what do you do differently when you're traveling by plane to a race states away? You don't have your closet full of 50 pair of shoes to choose from. How do you manage it, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, this one, we're both traveling with just a carry-on, no checked baggage.
Wow.
For 100. Yeah, I know. Trust me, I know. Like my bag is packed to the brim. When TSA goes to inspect my baggies full of electrolyte mix because they think it's cocaine, it's going to disrupt all the packing I did, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit back in there perfectly to close the zipper. It's that bad. I mean,
Wow.
hold on a second. I'm going to do something here. I just want to, let's see. So there's my bag. I have two
Wow.
pair of shoes and a Patagonia bag. And then
Yeah.
Becky is the same way right there. We're just laying on the floor, you know.
Holy moly, that's
But
impressive.
I guess, but I mean, really, I think we have everything we need. I'm planning, yeah, like if it was Tahoe, I actually sent a UPS box out to my rental house beforehand so that when I arrived, I would have all my goodies from my closet that you're speaking of there. And like, I felt better, you know, but this is, I don't know. I mean, my game plan is I'm going to get most of my calories from liquid. Except for when I get to an aid station, I'm going to eat the real food they have there and maybe take something with me. So I didn't have to pack any of the goodies or the bars or stuff like that. Like I'm going with scratch mostly, knock on wood that it works, and a bunch of gummies that I like.
Now, what's the weather like? Because if all you need to wear are some shorts and some nippies, then that makes it a little easier, right?
That is the plan. That is all I'm going to wear: shorts and nippies and a tank top, probably to prevent chafing from my vest. But yeah, it's supposed to be low 90s, I think, on race day out there. It's hot. Like right now, it's 95 all week, but it's dropping down to like 89.
Okay. Do you have to bring a jacket or anything like that for overnight?
Yeah, and overnight it does look like it drops like low 50s. So up on top of the mountains, which we go maximum, we're topping out at like 10,000 feet. I think that's during the day though. Most of it's pretty significantly lower than that. But yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be a tad bit nipply at night for sure. And yes, they believe a jacket is required.
Okay. You should check that.
Yeah, I mean, it's my
All right, so are you planning to buy anything when you get there, or is this like, this is it? You're ready?
You know, if we go to a Walmart on the day before and I see something that tickles my little fancy, then maybe I'll pick it up. But that's it. Yeah. I think I have everything I need. Between the aid stations are pretty stacked. I mean, the longest distance is like 13 miles. And again, I'll get my calories from gummies and liquid.
Wow.
Yeah, give it a shot. And Becky's kind of the same, I think. I think she's Gatorade and some gummies. I'm not sure what she's packing for food. We really didn't talk about that. But yeah, I have my race outfit and everything goes right. I don't see myself changing anything. But I do have one extra pair of shoes, Hoka's, if I want something. I'm wearing the normals. To start off.
Are you?
Do
you like them?
I like them enough where I think the minimal weight might help. And worst comes to worst, my feet start hurting, I'll put on my cushy Hoka's. Yeah. And we do have a crew going out with us, Lyle Klingeman and his wife. They're going to hang out with my daughter, Lauren, and go from aid station to aid station. So they can give us some stuff, but I'm not giving them much.
If you're not packing anything, then, you know, what do you do with your crew?
I might give them some stuff. We might buy some stuff in Walmart just to throw to them and be like, look, if maybe I might want this. I don't know, but I don't think so.
Give them some snacks, I guess.
Yeah, just keep them moving and alive. But yeah, I mean, I don't expect to change any socks, and shirts and vests is all going to stay the same. I don't know. It should be fun.
Okay. I'm excited for you. You know what shoes I am not wearing at my race this weekend? The Sauconys that I left at your house. No, I kind of sit with them every night and I pet them. Not going to wear those. Yeah. But I guess I'm not going to wear them ever again.
We'll keep them safe.
Found a new home.
They'll always be here for you. They have plenty of friends in my closet.
Yeah, plenty of friends. Now, again, what race are you doing this weekend?
Crazy Mountain 100 in Montana, across the Crazy Mountains, 23,000 feet of gain, 100 miles, I think. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. And you've done 100 milers with more gain. Ouray had more than this, right?
Yeah. Ouray was double that.
Yeah, I thought so.
Ouray 42. But I mean, let's face it. You want to compare it to like Eastern States and stuff. It's a little above that. So it's going to be,
super tough race, but yeah. I guess my point in asking that is more like you feel prepared for this type of elevation for this scenario that you're going into. Is that a fair statement? You feel ready?
Yeah.
Ready to go?
That's a very fair statement, Grace. I feel more confident, and hopefully it's not putting the cart before the horse, but I like the idea of 3,000-foot climbs that aren't as gnarly as Eastern States, but go on for longer. You know what I mean? Yeah. I can maintain that fast power hike, I think, when it's not that steep. So I look forward to that type of thing. That being said, the downhill for 3,000 feet back downhill is going to be quite quad-inducing carnage, but
yeah,
we'll see.
That's all right. We'll go backwards for a little bit.
There's been a couple grizzly sightings right in the area, so that's kind of fun.
Is Becky bringing bear spray or not?
She finally decided not to, and then these news flashes about these bears being seen popped up. So it's perfect timing. I mean,
just got to keep them fed, and then they're fine.
They're fine. You know? Yeah, they're fine. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun time. I can't wait to talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, excited to hear about it. And this is building up to your 200, yeah?
That's the idea. Yeah, in September, Canadian 200, eh?
Yeah, that'll be super fun.
Mm-hmm.
So you have crew and you have pacers coming, and one of the things we've talked about before is like, what do you, especially for people who haven't had crew before and haven't had pacers before, I think there's a certain responsibility as a runner to your crew and to your pacers. So everybody does things a little bit differently. I wanted to hear, what are you doing for your crew? What are you doing for your pacers? And how do you, especially such a big trip like this, how do you split out costs and all of that? What's your plan?
Well, before we get into it, this is actually going to be, I'm not using any pacers for this 100-miler, and that'll be my first big boy run 100-miler that I don't have any pacers. So I'm kind of nervous, kind of excited about that. I think a lot of people on here listening, you included, know how I get a little bit. I get a little needy, maybe a little cranky pants during whiny. I mean, everybody does, but
no,
I'm going to have to manage that.
You're the only one.
Manage that all on my own this time, which is interesting. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. I was thinking about you this morning because I was listening to an interview with Pam Reed. And she was talking about the benefits and drawbacks of having a pacer, and sometimes when you're up front like that, you know, sometimes it's better if you're already in a groove to just keep going along without a pacer. So I'll be interested to hear what you think about not having one the whole time.
I can't promise you I'm going to be so upfront that as you think I'm going to be. I'm going out to enjoy myself and hopefully get to that finish line. But back to the crew and pacers thing. We talked about this a little bit offline privately, but it's a fun little concept to think about or idea to think about. And, you know, everybody likes to have help, but I hope if you're asking for help that you're willing to, you know, at least pay it forward somehow or pay back your crew / pacers in one way or another. If you can. I always, I guess, let's see, if I'm reaching out for to Facebook world, let's say, for a specific race and somebody responds back, hey, I'm interested in, you know, possibly helping you or going out to so-and-so race. I'm real quick to say that, well, this is what I can do for you. And, you know, I wish I could do more, but I can't cover everything, you know.
Yeah.
I can get you out there and I can feed you. I can get your plane ticket and feed you. The rest is going to have to be on you because sadly I can barely get myself out there a lot of times, but that's my way, you know, my best way of saying, you know, thank you for coming is you get to come out. You know, I already have the house. So that's the other thing most of the time for this trip, especially, like I'm already renting the house. So you don't have to pay for housing. You might have to get a car and pay for some of the food throughout it, you know, since you're going to be by yourself anyway.
Yep.
And as far as pacers go, I you know, that's personal. I've always been a fan of like the gift cards or, even like a gift basket of sorts afterwards. And it's not something that I really like to say, look, hey, if you come out, I'm going to give you this. It's more like,
Right.
Surprise that this is how much I appreciate you taking the time. What about you?
Yeah, real similar. I haven't done a ton of traveling for races, so usually it's fairly close by, but I'll typically get an Airbnb for the weekend. Even Eastern states, I'm a little more comfortable in a cabin in the woods close to the start finish than I am in a hotel. So I try to find an Airbnb close by, and I typically pay for lodging, and then I'll pay for, I'll either drive myself or I'll pay for transportation up. And then I'm usually upfront about it. Like I'll do transportation and lodging and then foods on your own. And then I usually do a small gift for my crew and pacers. Last year when I attempted Eastern States, I got all of my crew and my pacers. And again, it was a surprise gift. I didn't like tell them, hey, if you do this for me, I'll buy you something. But right. I got them a pair of Gooders that I knew would be in a color they liked. Julia loves purple, so I got her a pair of purple Gooders. Lacey loves pink. That's her favorite color, so I got her a pair of pink Gooders, So very similar to what you're doing, but I think it's important to be upfront about it ahead of time and say like, hey, here's what's happening. And, I think at the end of the day, a lot of people are taking vacation time for you. They could be doing other things. And I think if you choose really good crew and really good pacers, it's really not a vacation. And I think, once you're in the sport for a while, you get that and you understand it. As crew, it's a tough job. You really got to make sure that you're hitting all your aid stations. You have everything prepped and ready to go. You should be, on the crew side, I think you should be awake before your runner's awake, getting stuff together. The car is packed. It's ready to go. You're waking them up. You might be helping them. Did you lube? Did you get breakfast? I think your, game day, you got to have game face on if you're crew or if you're pacing. And so asking somebody to do that, to give up their family time, their vacation time to essentially, it's a job if they're doing a good job of it. And a pacer, they're probably giving up their training time. They might be giving up their ability to do a race that day. So you're really asking them to give up a lot. So same as you, I usually do lodging and transportation and then a small gift, and thank them a million times over for helping me out.
Yeah. I mean, most people want to help, but like you're saying, it's still, especially for something like 100, even a local 100-miler such as Eastern States. I mean, it's only a couple hours drive. Okay, that's not bad. And the cost isn't that bad, but you're keeping these people up. Well, for one, it's all day Saturday. You're keeping them up all night Sunday or Saturday night. We're all zombies come Sunday. So their whole weekend is completely shot.
Yeah. And for me, I'm a little bit further away. I'm coming up Friday for sure. So it's all day Friday, getting everything organized, and it's quite a commitment. Now, I think on the other side of it, I have now, I'm a little experienced with crew. I think there should be ratings for how good you are as crew, and I think that we should work on that. I think you should have a rating as a pacer. Like, how you get an Airbnb and there's like a rating, like a 5-star rating or something. Like we should do that for crew and for pacers, I think. And right. And I'm not bad crew. I'll tell you what. So I'm crewing Laura for Eastern States, and I demanded a hat and she got it for me. And it's amazing. I can't wait to wear it. I'm going to wear it all the time.
What's this hat say?
It says crew chief on the front. And then on the back, it says hot pants.
You are very high maintenance crew. Holy moly! And you.
She's gonna finish though. I tell you what. If all it takes to finish your first 100-miler is to get your crew a hat, I mean that's a bargain, don't you think?
So you feel that you're a 5-star crew? Like
I don't know if I'm 5-star. I don't think I'm 5-star because I know some people like. my favorite crew are definitely my friends who are nurses because they know everything. I would go with 4-star. I think I'm 4-star crew.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty strong opinion you have there.
You know, if you got the goods, I mean, there's nothing wrong in being proud of it.
So you should be, you're saying you should definitely be, Laura should definitely reimburse you for your trouble.
No, I already got it. I get a hat.
Hat.
That's all. That's what 4-star level equals hat.
What's 5? What's 5? Come on, you have something.
5's got to be more. 5's a lot.
I know. Oh, we'll have to think about that.
Yeah.
I don't even know how much I've actually ever crewed for somebody other than
gotta work on this stuff, man.
Becky. Who else did I actually crew for? I've paced
do some more sweeping.
All right, fine. You listen to me. You listen to me. Good. Great. If you're saying you're 4 out of 5 stars on the crew,
you're like a half star.
No, listen up. I hope somebody backs me. I don't know if anybody's gonna back me up on here, but no,
probably not.
But I'm one hell of a pacer, young lady.
Oh,
I am, and even my wife would agree with that. And she doesn't agree with me with too many things. Yeah. So I think that says a lot right there. But I really feel like my pacing is top notch, and it's weird because I can be really positive and keep somebody in the game and get them moving when they're really low. But I can't do that with I struggle to do that with myself. So it's really odd. But man, I love pacing.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen very many reviews on your pacer chart, but I did. We have to make this. I'm telling you, this is a good idea. But I know you pace Laura for Boulder Field, and she did say you were a good pacer because at the end she hit like a 7-minute mile, which is ridiculous.
Listen, she's not a hugger, Grace. I think everybody that knows her knows she's not a hugger. She dislikes hugs. I got a hug at the end. So that's 4 stars. Come on, that's at least 4.
I already gave you 5. Now you want to go down to 4?
No, I'm just being
4-star pacer. That's you.
I like pacing. It's funny though. It's one of those things where like being in the front of the pack. All right. I wasn't the first time I paced. Don't ask me who it was. It might've been Becky. I'm not sure, but I really wasn't sure if I was going to enjoy it. I had no problem doing it, 20 miles, and it was going to be pretty much all overnight. And I knew how slow it would be, but I knew it would be slow. Okay. But, and I wasn't sure if that would bother me, even though it wasn't my race. I was doing it for somebody else. It's just like, oh my gosh, I got to go faster. But that was in my head. But
this is why you've never asked me to run with you.
No. But like after I did it, and it was slow, but I loved every second of it. I literally loved every second of it. And I've loved every second from there on out of everybody I paced. It's just like, everybody's got to do it. It's fun. It's inspiring. And like the time flies, even though I'm going, it can be a hike, a 30-mile hike. But for me, the time always flies.
Yeah.
Maybe that's because I'm not the miserable one, I'm just, I know I have a job to do. But I love it. I really do love it.
Yeah. Pacing's super fun. I probably prefer crewing over pacing. But I've paced before and really enjoyed it. I think it's a neat thing to do to, allow yourself to commit yourself to somebody else's race. I think is a really great gift to give. And the same is true for crewing too, just in a different way.
Yeah. It's a blast. I love it. Anytime that I'm free and somebody asks me if I can, I'm like, heck yeah, because it's fun to help somebody accomplish the goal too, obviously.
Yeah. We gotta ask out on the interwebs some good ideas for crew and pacer gifts. So I gave out a good idea already. Hats, gooder sunglasses, gift cards. We'll have to crowdsource for some more crew and pacer gifts.
Idiot runner gear.
Idiot runner gear. That's a really good idea.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah. I have my idiot runner hat on right now.
Yeah, but I mean, I think, it's let's face it, it's not very hard to find some cool, cheap running stuff that
but we want something creative. So we're gonna crowdsource. We're gonna come up with some ideas for all the people out there.
Okay.
Because we're coming up on fall race season, and the other topic so I think we covered that. We covered crew and pacer care. Take care of your crew. Take care of your pacers. And if you're a crew or you're a pacer, demand a hat.
Yeah, make sure there's no surprises. You don't ever be that person that asks somebody to come and they think maybe you'll help them out a little bit and you didn't think you had to. Like, at least talk about it beforehand, man. Like, this is what
and I think that's a good addition on this is you really should have a crew and pacer meeting. You know, have a meeting about, here's what we're going to do. Here, as a runner, you should have a crew chart when you're anticipated to come into all of the aid stations. You should have all of your gear clearly marked, let people know what you want, what you don't want, things to say, things not to say. I'm not going to tell you my list of things not to say because that's what you're going to say.
No, I have a good addition though before we move on, and it's interesting. And before I was doing all this stuff, I would have never thought about it myself. But when you use a significant other to crew, mostly to crew you, and I've found this out myself, and Becky, I'm sure would agree to a certain point, but there's no filter. So when I'm Mr. Cranky Pants, I'm going to take it out on her because I can. Not because I can, but because I'm allowed to. She's my wife. She can feel me a little more. I don't know. I can beat her up a little more, I guess is what I'm saying. Where if I'm having you or a friend, you for example, out there, it might be better because it keeps me from going to those low places and saying those things I really don't need to say. If that makes any sense. Like,
it does.
I'm appreciative for you being there crewing me at mile 70 when I feel like hell. And I might just say, I might feel like hell and you give me what I need and I'll say thanks and be on my way. I don't know which one's better, which one's worse.
It does, but I can't say that I don't ever get cranky with my friends either. I'm a super happy runner and everything, but if there's a race that I'm stressed about because of cutoff times or something like that, I can get hyper focused on what I have to do. And I get real direct and I don't always come across the way that I want to come across. So I've been guilty of that before, even with my friends. So I think but again, it's one of those things that you talk to your crew about, and anybody who's not crewed me before and I'm bringing them into that world, I kind of let them know ahead of time, just so you know, it is not personal. I'm a very happy-go-lucky runner until it gets to a really big race, and I get intense, and intensity can be perceived a way that I don't mean it to. So
yeah, I would agree with that statement for myself too. I'm not good at expressing my intensity, I guess.
Yeah. My intensity it's very direct. And I kind of warn my crew ahead of time. Like, I come in, I'm going to ask for things and I want to get out of there. I really don't, with the types of races that I choose, I typically don't have time to tell a story or have fun at the aid stations. I really don't have time for that. I have to get in and out. And my fun time is really out on the course. So I have to prep my team for that and things not to say to me. And
it's just something you do have to think a little bit when you're trying to come up with a game plan of who you might want to ask to be your crew. It's something to think about, I think.
Yeah. And I think the same goes for crew and pacers. If your runner's not doing that for you, you might ask them, like, hey, can we have a meeting? And I've had my crew and my pacers remind me of that. Hey, Grace, I'd really like to have a meeting. And I'm like, oh, shoot, that's right. We should do that. And Chris Young, I remember the first time, well, it was the only time, but it was the first time for him pacing. He paced me for World's End 100K. And it was so funny. He's like, yeah, I did practice pacing with Rhoda, and I wanted to get tips on how to be a great pacer. Chris Young's just he's the nicest guy. And so he had asked me ahead of time, do you want somebody who's going to tell you stories, or do you want me to just shut up and run with you? So you kind of let your pacer know, here's what I need from you, probably. Here's what to do if things are going poorly. So I think having that conversation with pacers ahead of time can just make the whole process go much easier,
Yep. Precisely.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm running this race.
Mm-hmm.
I have a crew. I don't have any pacers.
Yeah.
Becky does have a pacer, somebody she's going to meet out there who lives out there and pacing her for quite a while. And Lauren actually gets the pacer for the last 7 miles.
Yay!
Yeah, that'll be cool.
That would be cool.
But Grace, what do we do to recover after this race?
Do you have a plan afterwards?
So I'm always I always just kind of say, do what your body tells you to do, which sounds like an easy out as far as, proper recovery, but you don't.
It's pretty lazy.
It is, but it's lazy, but I always like to get back on the horse maybe too soon when it comes to running also. And a lot of it, and for me, is in my mind. Like the day after 100 miler, my legs work and they run, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is great. But that doesn't really mean I should be going out and putting in too many miles,
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you have? Give us.
Well, I'll give you one of the things that I do with my athletes as a coach. I don't always do it myself, I try to, but as a coach, I think it's important to help our athletes plan for afterwards. And you probably do a better job with your athletes than you do yourself. That's just how we are. But if you don't have a coach, it is important to try to figure out, what am I going to do immediately afterwards? And there are some key things to do immediately afterwards. And one is it depends on the length of the race. And I think your point is solid. Do what your body wants you to. But usually your body wants protein pretty quickly afterwards. So you might have a protein shake ready to go for after the race. You might have, if you're going to be traveling in a car or traveling on a plane afterwards, you might have some compression socks ready to go. So after you get your shower, you're switching over to compression socks to take care of those calves. One of the things I like to have ready to go is just a face wash, because I get acne like 3 days after big races every time, because I get these clogged pores. So I like to have some face wash ready to go. So wash my face immediately afterwards to try to get rid of some of the gunk. And to that extent, just have some things to wash your hands, because they're probably gross. Some hand sanitizer. Like I like to have a little go bag ready to go for after the race. If it's a race that's in the cold, well, I know I'm going to need dry clothes immediately afterwards. I need to get out of my wet stuff quickly. This is having somebody else having Raynaud's. So I want to have dry clothes for afterwards. I want to have compression socks. I want to have something to wash my face and my hands. And I want to have a protein shake, maybe some Kleenex, because I probably got gunk in my nose, and some chapstick. So I like to have a couple of things ready to go for immediately afterwards. And then I like to give my athletes some tips on what to do the next day. I think hands down, no matter what, at a bare minimum, there should be a nice and easy 15-minute walk. Right. I believe in active recovery. For some people, that can be a 20-minute or a 30-minute walk, but at least 15 minutes to just move the legs, and recovery always goes faster if you can get outside or even on a treadmill and just do a nice, easy walk. And then I highly suggest to everybody Epsom salt bath. I think if you can't do an Epsom salt bath, there is an Epsom salt lotion called Epsom It. And so Epsom salt bath, science says it helps. I do it. If you can do some foam rolling, I think foam rolling afterwards is great. and then huge amounts of water and protein the next day. So that's kind of a base that I tell my athletes: move a little bit, foam roll if you can, water, Epsom if you can, and protein the next day in whatever form your body is able to take in lots of protein. And that's going to speed recovery so that you can get back to running sooner. So I discourage the whole couch potato for the next 5 days, right? You gotta keep moving and train hard. I say train hard and taper hard. I think there's some people who don't taper hard enough. They don't taper at all. Adam Cole. and race hard and then recover hard. So I'm a big fan of doing all the things for recovery. And I think some people do some additional things. Some people really enjoy yoga. Some people get a massage. I think there's some other things that you can do, but at a bare minimum, if you can't do anything else, I would say a 15-minute walk and lots of water.
Yeah, and I think that goes for the whole following week. I mean, it's important I agree, it's important the next day. The day that all you want to do is sleep, especially if it's a long, big ultra race. Lay around, sleep, and eat all the good food. You still go out, but then for the next 5 to 7 days, just even if you don't feel it, or you mentally don't feel like running, or physically don't feel like running, stay moving. You know, do that biking thing that apparently people like doing if you have to. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think to the opposite side of that, I've seen people, and I've been guilty of this myself. I got a pretty bad injury once because I did a very tough 50K, and the next day I was supposed to be doing a back-to-back training run. So I used a 50K as a training run. And then the next day went out for 13 miles. And I didn't take care of myself in between. And I ended up getting a partial tear in my hamstring tendon because my quads were way too tight. And so going back to running too soon afterwards, it can also be a bad idea. So laying around can be a bad idea. And then Adam's on. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I know. Good.
And then laying around too much can be a bad idea. And then going back to running too soon can also be a bad idea. I've seen that happen with athletes doing a 100-miler and then saying, oh, well, I feel good. Well, you might feel good, but going back too soon afterwards can also put you into injury. So taking your rule of thumb generally is a day for every 10 miles. So if you're doing a 50-miler, that's 5 days off. Everybody's different, but that gives you a starting point if you're new to it, I think. And stick to walking. Walking, riding. It's just easier on your joints.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is, and it's pretty commonsensical, is that, you know, your body, your muscles, your bones, everything is strained after a long, hard run, whether it's if it's your first 20 miles, your first marathon, your first 100-miler, it doesn't matter. Everything is stressed. Everything could feel great. Oh my gosh, I made it through and I don't have a single injury. But that overuse injury or strain or whatever might only be 1 mile more away. Yeah. And, you know, because I've been there. I felt amazing after a real long run one time. And that following week, it was like, well, I might as well get back to it here. And I did nothing wrong. And then something started hurting after those couple runs, you know? So it's just the tipping point where all I had to do is let my body recover from the strain I put on it. And it would have been $1 million, but it's hard to do sometimes. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, if you're somebody who wants to be doing this for the next 20, 30, 40 years, then, you know, recover hard and take care of yourself, then you're more likely to be able to do that and stay out of the injury zone.
Right. Good stuff. A lot of people are saying, yeah, well, I already knew all this stuff, whatever. But no, it's easy to get excited about.
You know, yeah, but I was talking to some people the other, I was talking to a Hoka rep. At our Trail Sisters run, occasionally we have Hoka come out because Hoka and Trail Sisters have a partnership. And we were talking about shoes, and we were talking about marketing, because On must have amazing marketing, because I don't know anybody who runs in On shoes, but every time I go to the airport, that's all everybody's wearing. I don't know how it works. But anyway, it led to this conversation about the Google is just not a great, Google results at the top of anything that has to do with running usually is not the best source of information. And so we were talking about how most everything I learned about running was either from podcasts or really great books and running with other people who know more than me. And even the running books that I've read were not the books that were at the top of the Google search list. It was books that other people recommended to me. And the podcasts were not the ones at the top of the list. It was podcasts that other people recommended to me. And it's hard. It's hard to find good information. And then you listen to a podcast and somebody says something like, hey, did you know they had Epsom salt lotion? And maybe there's one person out there who didn't know that, and now they know it, hopefully. So I don't know. I like talking about this kind of stuff because it's been so helpful for me in the past. There's it's so hard to find good information.
Right. Yeah, it's a very good point.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see if our listeners knew absolutely everything. There will be a quiz at the end.
Yep. And if you fail, you get one star. 1 star.
You're a 1 star. You go back to the bottom. It's like Chutes and Ladders.
Oh man! All right. Well, I think that's. Is there more you want to say, Miss 4 out of 5 stars?
That's it.
That's good. Okay. I'm sitting here thinking I'm going to have a real hard time making it to 7:30 on Monday. I wonder. I don't know how your schedule fits, but it would work to do it Tuesday next week for me, not Monday, but we can talk.
I think I can do Tuesday. Tuesday should work.
I'll still be in the vehicle at 7:30 next Monday. And last time I tried in the vehicle, there was a cop involved, and it was not pretty.
I mean, it was super fun for me because I just got to talk, but everybody wants to hear how your race went. So we'll do that next week. We're going to have, so next week we might be at a different day and time. We'll hear all about your race. We're going to be pre-gaming for Eastern States coming up. If you are a fan of that race, even if you're not, if you want to hear more about Eastern States, we'll pre-game for Eastern States. And then coming up soon, later in August, I have a guest coming on who's going to talk about what it's like to live in a van. That's going to be fun. And we'll talk about dog etiquette, how to run with your dog, all the things about dogs and running. So that's going to be a fun episode.
And how to take care of your poo.
When you live in a van?
Yeah. I mean, you always have to deal with it.
That's where you went. That's what you thought about first.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh man.
We'll find out. So I love to hear everybody's questions about what it's like to live in a van. Matt, absolutely down by the river, in a van down by the river, the Susquehanna River, and running with dogs. And then we have Eastern States coming up. We have all kinds of fun episodes. So make sure that you tune in to hear about all the things. And I think we're going live at Eastern States, right?
Oh boy. I guess now we are, since you done did that. No, that is the plan. The plan is I, at least myself, since I will be at Toombs Flats, they are going to have a interwebs capability there. So I believe I have the ability to go live there, and I plan on having a live feed from Toombs Flats, mile 62-ish at Eastern State, which is a really cool aid station. And yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that next show a little bit, because I need some help. This aid station needs to be the best aid station ever in the history of aid stations. Oh boy! So we need to get into that a little bit next week. Okay. What food? What do I wear? Like a string bikini? I don't know. I don't know.
There's so many options.
With my hands, like just yeah, exactly. So I need to get everything set for that, so that like it is like people talk about this for years to come.
Sounds good. Well, lots of things coming up, so make sure you tune in to the podcast. And I think I retrieved my Instagram account information finally.
I didn't know it was lost. Cool.
Yeah, I didn't tell you.
Good. That's good. Shh.
It was lost for a little bit. So I think we're back on Instagram now. And check us out on Facebook and on YouTube, and like it and share it with all your friends, and come back next week.
All right, Grace, try not to lose anything within the next week.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.